Today, we're not just going to talk about environmental pollution like it's some dry textbook chapter. No, we're going to explore it as a story of incredible ambition, devastating disasters, and the amazing human movements that rose up to protect our planet.
I mean, just think about that for a second. It's a terrifying thought, right? But for the people in one small town, it became a deadly, very real nightmare. This question isn't just for dramatic effect, it's the start of a story that completely changed how we see the very air around us. So, picture this. It's late October 1948 in the small industrial town of Donora, Pennsylvania. A freak weather event, a temperature inversion, basically put a lid over the town, trapping all the toxic junk from the local steel and zinc mills. For 5 straight days, the air turned into this thick, poisonous yellow fog. By the time it finally cleared, 20 people were dead and thousands were sick. Donora became this tragic, powerful symbol of what happens when industrial pollution runs completely wild.
The story of Denora was a massive, terrifying wake up call. It really exposed a problem that's both global and incredibly complex. So, to really get a handle on what we're up against, we've got to define the threat itself. Okay, so what are we really talking about? At its core, environmental pollution is actually pretty simple. It's when we introduce harmful stuff into the natural world. This stuff, these contaminants, they throw everything off balance, they damage our environment, and they're a direct threat to our own health. And this contamination wears a lot of different hats. We usually think of smokestacks or oil spills, but pollution can also be the noise from a highway messing with wildlife, or the crazy bright lights from a city that blot out the stars. It can even be radioactive waste from a power plant. It's a problem with many, many faces, and it touches every single part of our world. So while that everyday pollution is slowly chipping away at our environment, certain moments in history have been just catastrophic wake-up calls. Events so devastating they forced the entire world to stop and really confront the true cost of industrial negligence. Let's jump to 1984, to a pesticide plant in Bhopal, India. A whole series of safety failures led to a truly horrific accident. Water leaked into a tank holding tons of a super toxic gas called methyl isocyanide. This set off a runaway chemical reaction, and a massive, poisonous cloud was released, silently drifting over the sleeping city. The immediate impact was just staggering. The official death toll in the first few days was over 3,000 people. And that's just the start. Thousands more died in the weeks that followed. Beyond the deaths, hundreds of thousands were left with these chronic, awful illnesses: blindness, respiratory failure, birth defects. Bhopal is still this harrowing lesson in corporate accountability and the real human cost of negligence. And then, just 2 years later, another catastrophe unfolded. At the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in Soviet Ukraine, a safety test was, well, it was poorly designed. Reactor 4 had this sudden, massive power surge, and that led to a catastrophic explosion that literally blew the 1,000-ton roof right off the reactor, releasing a huge plume of radioactive material that would end up spreading all across Europe. The entire city of Pripyat, home to almost 50,000 people, was evacuated a day and a half later. Can you imagine? They were told it would just be for 3 days. They never, ever went back. The Chernobyl disaster created this huge, uninhabitable exclusion zone and really hammered home the terrifying, long-lasting consequences of radioactive pollution. These disasters are just horrifying, but they also acted as these powerful catalysts for change. They forced a global conversation about how we can prevent this stuff from happening and how we manage our impact on the planet, starting with the very things we throw away every single day. The best strategy for managing waste isn't just one thing. It's a hierarchy. It all starts at the very beginning. The most powerful thing we can do is simply reduce the amount of waste we create in the first place. Then from there, we focus on reusing whatever we can, recycling materials into new stuff, and recovering energy from what's left over. Tossing it in a landfill? That should always, always be the absolute last resort. But here's the thing. Solutions aren't just about big government policies or corporate systems. Some of the most powerful changes have been driven from the ground up, by ordinary people just standing up to protect their homes. And in India, there are 3 movements in particular that stand out as just incredible examples of this. They each have a really unique story, but they all share the same powerful message. Just look at this legacy of activism. The Bishnoi movement goes all the way back to 1730, when villagers literally sacrificed their lives to protect sacred trees.
Then in the 1970s, you have the Chipko movement, where women would literally hug trees to stop commercial loggers. And in the 1980s, the Silent Valley movement successfully campaigned to stop a dam that would have completely destroyed a pristine tropical forest. Every single one of them proves that dedicated local communities can achieve monumental change. It's incredible.
So where does this all leave us? How do we take all these lessons, from the catastrophic disasters to these grassroots victories, and weave them into a real strategy for the future? Well, every part of this story tells us something about how we can build a safer, cleaner world. The path forward, it's pretty clear there's no single silver bullet. It's got to be this coordinated effort. It needs strong government policies, the innovation of cleaner technologies, and, crucially, widespread public education. It means we have to fundamentally rethink how we live, from the farms that grow our food to the cities we call home. And we have to work together, across borders, to tackle these global challenges head-on. The stories of Donora, Bhopal, and Chernobyl are stark, painful lessons in the consequences of doing nothing. But the stories of the Chipko and Silent Valley movements, they're powerful lessons in the possibility of change. So the real question for us now is, which lesson is going to define our future?